So, what happened at Forbidden Door 2023? Here's my reaction. The first match of the night was Hiroshi Tanahashi versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. MJF is just really good at working the crowd, and Hiroshi actually looked a bit out of shape, like he does look like he aged, which makes me feel old as well. It still doesn't make sense to me that they would make Hiroshi Tanahashi wrestle the night before on Collision, especially when he has a world title match one night later at Forbidden Door. It doesn't feel realistic. Like if a fighter had a UFC fight, they wouldn't compete in another professional fight for like months. So this doesn't make any sense. There was this fun spot in the match where MJF was doing a submission move on Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he grabbed the rope and the ref counted till 4. MJF wasn't breaking the lock, and then he said, "What are you gonna do about it, dipshit?" And the ref just kicked his hand off the rope. That was really funny. I never seen anything like this in wrestling before. During the match, MJF also sent out a scheduled tweet saying that he would have beaten Tanahashi by now. Of course he didn't. Again, never seen something like this in a wrestling story. This was fun. The match ended in a way that doesn't make Tanahashi look all that weak, but continues to make MJF look like the heel that he is. So MJF pushed Tanahashi into the referee, and then as the ref was, kind of recovering, MJF used his diamond ring to hit Tanahashi on the head and retained the title. We then got a match with Kojima versus CM Punk. CM Punk got a mixed reaction. Half the crowd were cheering, half were booing. There was this part where he was clotheslining Kojima several times in the turnbuckle and saying his name. Punk kept being cocky, kept flexing his muscles, his chest muscles. He kept doing push-ups. It was just Punk being a really good heel. He is a really good heel. He's very, very good at what he does. Great face, great heel, anything. Eventually Punk won, but he still showed some sportsmanship. So he's not being a complete heel. He's playing this character where he's actually face, but because people are treating him like shit, he treats them like shit back. So he's a tweener. There was then a fatal 4-way match, Orange Cassidy defending his AEW International title against the Ring of Honor Pure Champion, Katsuyori Shibata, New Japan Television Champion, Zack Sabre Jr., and Daniel Garcia, who was the only man in this match with no title. It was funny to see Cassidy do his usual, kicking his legs thing to his opponents. This time all 4 of them, and they were then taking his legs and throwing it around each other. And yet Cassidy won and retained his title. Really, really fun. Orange Cassidy is a really good mid-carder. We then got Jungle Boy Jack Perry challenging Sanada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. There was nothing noticeable about this match. Jungle Boy was accompanied to the ring with Hook. After the match, Perry lost, and when he walked up the ramp, he actually clotheslined Hook and turned heel. I think he needs this. He needs this because, let's be honest, there's nothing much about his gimmick that could get him over naturally. What I liked about this was, even though Taz is Hook's father and he was right there in commentary, they didn't explicitly mention that. Like, Taz didn't explicitly say anything that would indicate he's Hook's dad, or the other commentators didn't say that, but Taz was livid on the mic, on commentary. You could hear him, and so it added this sense of high stakes, like his dad is right there, but he can't do anything about it, but he's not breaking kayfabe to reveal he's his dad. It was really fun. Like, it's just implied, like the audience's intelligence is not insulted. We then got a big 10-man tag team match, Elite versus Team Blackpool Combat Club. Team Elite won when Tomohiro Ishii pinned Wheeler Yuta. This is something that always seems to happen. Wheeler Yuta always eats the pin for the team. We then got a AEW Women's World Title match. Toni Storm beat Willow Nightingale. Storm was accompanied by not just Ruby Soho this time, but also Saraya. Then we had probably one of the best matches I've seen in a while. Will Ospreay challenging Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. Ospreay had Don Callis and some security by his side. There was this really cool spot where Ospreay actually did a shooting star press, but not to Kenny Omega, who's laying on the ground, but rather who's like halfway up, but like leaning on the ropes. So he did the shooting star press on his back, which must be incredibly hard to do because he would have less space in the air to flip and hit the shooting star press to someone who's not even laying flat on the ground. That was really impressive. Never seen anything like it. There was this time where Ospreay actually licked some of Kenny Omega's blood off his arm. He even used the Canadian flag that he stole from a fan and rubbed it against his crotch and used it to pick his nose. There was a time when they were on the outside and Ospreay had his head banged so much on the steps there was blood all over the steps. Omega even did a DDT to Ospreay on the steps. And when they went back in the ring eventually, Omega just had blood all over his torso. It felt like I was watching a gameplay of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. He just looked bloody like that. Callis at one point even gave a screwdriver to Ospreay when the referee wasn't looking, when Omega was distracted. And Ospreay used it on Omega, and eventually he even tried to pin Omega, but Omega put his foot on the rope. There was even this one moment where Ospreay used Kenny Omega's finisher, the One-Winged Angel, and it looked like that was it. He was going to pin Omega, but Omega kicked out after just one count. And it got everyone fired up. Eventually, it was just too much damage to Omega, and Ospreay just finished him off and pinned him and became the new IWGP United States champ. The 8th match of the night was the Trios Tag Team match. It was Le Suzuki Gods, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito. There was even a funny pose during the match with Le Suzuki Gods, all 3 members of them. But the match was won when Naito pinned Suzuki. After the match, Chris Jericho tried to hit Tetsuya Naito with the baseball bat, but Sting got involved and made the save. Finally, the main event, Daniel Bryan versus Kazuchika Okada. Even before the match started, the fans were chanting like, holy shit, this is awesome. It just was so exciting. And it was a really good match. Daniel Bryan made Okada tap out, which I didn't expect. That was really interesting to see. Wow, overall, just such a great pay-per-view. Really, really good pay-per-view by AEW. Another one by them. They do a really good job for this. WWE have been putting on good premium live events. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan. This was a very good event. Very, very enjoyable.